Hey, podcast friends. This is Dr. Steve Hewlett with the podcast Simple Healthy Choices for Weight Loss, where every week we help people who have realized that as their health has been declining over the years, the number of medications they are being prescribed is increasing. We want to help you reverse this health path so you can live the vibrant, pain-free, and hopefully medication-free life you deserve to live. If you'd like even more information on this topic, you can go to Amazon or Audible and pick up my book, Your Plate is Your Fate. And if you think my book helps you on your new health path, please tell your friends and leave a review where you purchased it. Hey, podcast friends. Thank you so much for joining us for another podcast. And this is another interview podcast, and you will absolutely love this. This is a couple that we met at the Low Carb Conference in Denver, Colorado, a few months ago? Yeah. Several months ago. And we just hit it off straight from the very beginning. And they had a story of what they're doing in their community that I just had to have them on the podcast and have to have other people listen to this, because everybody thinks that with all the horrible processed food that's out there and all the miscommunication, the misinformation that we're being given about drugs on diabetes and about, what's healthy to eat. There's so much misinformation, and everybody has their own way of taking care of this. And this couple has a fantastic thing that they are doing to educate their community, and then the money that they use from doing this, I'll let them explain all that. But the couple that we're talking about is Steve Fullerton and Somers Fullerton. Welcome so much to our podcast. Welcome. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Glad to be on.
Yeah. So tell us how you guys got started doing this.
Wait, I got to tell them it so.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hang
on. First, I want to explain a little bit. Steve is an ACE certified personal trainer and ACE certified health coach. He's an ACE weight management specialist and functional training specialist. He has an FMS level 1 certified precision nutrition certified coach and certified level 1 exercise nutrition. MFP, what's MFP stand for?
Metabolic Fitness Pro.
Okay. MFP nutritional and functional biochemistry, and TRS virtual mobility coach and TRS movement and mobility coach.
And Somers has a lot of those too, but I didn't want you to have to go through that
twice. Okay. Matter of fact, we got ACE certified as personal trainers back in 2000 when we first realized how important it is to get the weight off of us and to start becoming healthy before it got too late and we got too far gone. Yep. And then other things happened and we just kind of gave it up for a little bit, and now we're starting back into it because it's something always been behind.
That's about when we did.
Really? Oh, nice.
Really?
Uh-huh.
And you stuck to it. And then Somers, his beautiful wife, is also a certified health behavior change coach from Duke University Integrative Medical Center. And she also is an interior designer. So welcome so much. And I want to just get right off the bat what this is. Just tell us what he has. They are the co-owners of Positive Momentum. And tell us what Positive Momentum is, and then you can just lead right on into how you became doing what you're doing in your community.
Do you want to start?
Well, Positive Momentum is the name of our company, and our mission statement is to enable and empower the people in our community to take charge of their health through education and awareness. And if they do that, then they move their life in has positive momentum. And that's where the positive momentum comes from, because if you can take charge of your health, then you truly have positive momentum in your life. And that's what we're trying to, help the people in our community do through education, is just get a little bit of education about their health. So many of us, we don't pay attention to our health because we just take it so much for granted when we're young. And then when we get middle age, everything starts kind of collapsing and you go, oh my gosh, what's happening? And our medical system, the way it's set up right now, really doesn't empower us to be healthy and to recover our health once it's gone. So there's ways to do that. We just need to educate our people on how to do that.
Right. And by far, it's from what we eat and not by taking some kind of tablet or capsule that has thousands of adverse effects.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we started a little bit of a backstory. So Somers and I both had some health issues, probably, I don't know, how long ago?
20 years ago.
15 or 20 years ago. Somers had Hashimoto's disease, which
nobody could diagnose.
So hypothyroidism.
Amazingly.
I was 50 pounds heavier, pre-diabetic, hypertension, taking meds for hypertension, and working too much, drinking too much alcohol, staying up too late, normal world.
And this was, you said, back in 2000 when you got
it was about 2000.
Okay.
It's before we both retired.
And we both retired around 2012.
Okay. Yeah, I just retired last year.
Yeah. So we were just not in good shape. And don't ask me how. It's funny how everybody always asks, how did you get into this? So it's worth the story. I was reading a book called, Tim Ferriss wrote it, called The 4-Hour Body.
Yep.
And for those who haven't read it, it's still a great book, even though it's older.
Oh, yeah.
And in it, they had a section on blood testing. And he recommended something called SpectraCell, which is still a great test for people to take. And it is, in essence, like a nutrient level kind of test.
And what was the name of that again?
A SpectraCell. SpectraCell. SpectraCell.
Okay.
And it's similar to what's called NutriVal, which is done by Genova Diagnostics now. But anyway, it just looks at your nutrient status across your primary nutrients. Uh-huh. So anyway, I didn't know much about any of that, so I thought it was kind of cool. So Somers and I said, we ought to go take that test. So he had to find somebody that could, give you the test and then interpret it. So we found a young lady in Stanton, Virginia, which is an hour away from us. And
she was a functional nutritionist.
Yeah, she was a functional nutritionist. And we met with her and went through the testing process. And from that, I was deficient in glutathione. Mm-hmm. And Somers was a little bit too. And she recommended, Dave Asprey was just starting then.
Right.
Oh,
well,
just started.
So she recommended liposomal glutathione as a better way to get your glutathione status up. And that just kind of set us off. So we found Dave Asprey's podcast. He's just starting it then.
He had great podcasts then.
Back then.
He still does. But he was just beginning, and all this new information was flying around, and it was great.
Yeah. So we started listening we would travel from our home in Lynchburg up to our little cabin here in Highland, where we are full time now. We would drive back and forth every weekend, and we would listen to podcasts. Mm-hmm. So here we are on a podcast. Yeah. So we just started learning and hearing about more podcasts. And every weekend we had 5 hours solid of information because we were working then. So you usually didn't have time.
And all that wonderful information that we learned, it started dawning on us like it does everybody when they start hearing this information. We would go, oh my God, yeah, that's right. I mean, doctors don't look for the root cause of things. All they want to do is give you drugs. I mean, wow, just think about that. What a concept.
Yeah, exactly.
That was one of the things that started dawning on us with all these podcasts that we were listening to.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing what proper nutrition can do to heal your body, and poor nutrition can do to absolutely deteriorate and kill your body.
Yeah, so we just started changing our ways, changed our diet significantly. And within probably 3 years, I lost 50 pounds.
Man, that's a great way to do it.
Somers healed her hypothyroidism. And
by healing my gut.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Gut microbiome is so important.
And we got rid of our meds because I was no longer pre-diabetic. I no longer had hypertension.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Congratulations, too. That's awesome.
So then when we were retired and we decided to use all this knowledge, that's when we got all those certifications. Uh-huh. And then we said, well, are we really having any impact in a locality as big as Lynchburg? And we said, so what are we going to do? So we said, well, let's move full time up to the middle of nowhere in Virginia.
Yeah.
Most beautiful place around by far. And there's only 2,000 people in the entire county.
Oh, wow.
200 cool. Kids in the school system. So we said, we can make a difference there. So let's try it. We had no idea what we were doing. So
good.
that's how we bore figured out positive momentum. We came up with a name. We came up with a logo.
What do we want to accomplish? And that's what we wanted to do, is help people find the life and health of their dreams. So,
So how did you do it? How did you first start? Did you start by having people come to your place for talks, or did you start by what?
no, we were at seminar at Polyface Farm, Joel Salatin's in Swope, Virginia, which is right across the mountain from us. We were there. And well, if anybody knows Joel, he is very much into this world of health and wellness.
And he's regenerative farmer, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Probably the most famous in the world, probably pretty close.
And we were very inspired by him. And we said, well, I wonder if he would come over and speak for us. Well, if you know, again, who Joel is, he charges thousands of dollars to come and speak to anyone. And we thought, well, why don't we just ask him how much he would charge to come over? Because our community, it has always been a farming community. The way the people here farm now is not regenerative. It is really not a very good way to make a living, because it's just, turning your cows in and 6 months later coming to get them and shipping them out west to a feeder lot. That's not the way, really, that isn't the way Joel does his farming. And I thought, this would be fantastic for the young people in our community to learn, because all of our young people are leaving our county and we need to retain them. And one way to do that is to show them a new way of farming that they can make a living doing it, which is why we were interested in going and listening to Joel, because he has a very, very good way of farming that enables young farmers to actually make some money doing it. So we went, and I got up the courage to go and ask him how much charge to come over and talk to our community. And he's, wanted to know what we were doing. And he said, well, I'll come over there without charging you anything. I love Highland County and I love the people in Highland County. And so I'll come and speak with no charge. And I went, just be calm, Somers. Just
really.
Don't act like a bumpkin here. He was our first speaker. We packed the house. He's a very famous guy. And so everybody had heard of him. So he was our first speaker, and he was our first real inspiration in doing this. And we thought, wow, look at this crowd. Maybe we could have other speakers who could come and talk about things that people are interested in that might help their health. And so that's what we did. And the rest is history. And it's been quite humbling to know that the people that we've had are world famous people. And they open our invitation with open arms, and they come to our little county and absolutely fall in love with it, as everybody does. And so we've had how many speakers now?
Probably 20 something, 23, 24. 23
or 24 speakers.
In the last how many years?
Over 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years. That's awesome.
Yeah.
After Joel came, we just tried to figure out how we could be. It took us a little while after Joel's visit to kind of figure out how we were going to do what we were going to do. Figuring out social media to try to market things. And we started out real small. So our first event was Dr. Westman, right?
Dr. Eric Westman.
Yeah, Dr. Eric Westman from Duke University.
Yeah.
And I forget how we got to him, through Amy, I guess. Amy was our first one. So Amy Berger was our first speaker past Joel.
We went to a seminar in Winchester where Eric was, and that's where I asked him if he would come and speak with us.
Yeah.
And he said,
so
did you bring up the money thing with him also, or he already say he wouldn't charge, or do some of the speakers charge and some don't, or?
No, none of them charges.
None of them charges.
We've never had anybody charge us anything.
Because we just try to convey to them what we're trying to do, what our mission is, what our community needs.
Their mission is the same as our mission.
Right.
We just want to help people get better.
Exactly.
Or retain their health.
Yep.
And also the fact that we donate any money left over to for stand-up desks. I mean, when you tell them that, they're like, I'm in, I'll do it.
Okay.
So that cut out just for a second. You said stand-up desks?
Yeah.
Okay.
When we told the speakers that any net proceeds go to stand-up desks, I mean, they were all in.
Who?
And why stand-up desk?
Or to who? Who's getting the stand-up desk? You guys?
The kids in the school system. Yeah.
We give them to our school system, and we have the kids, if your kids in your community or anything like our kids in our community, they sit all day long from the time they get up till the time they go to bed, and it's doing terrible things to their health.
Oh, yeah.
Most people don't realize what damage is being done to our children for them sitting all the time. So we thought that's one little tiny thing that we could do that might help that. So that's what we do with all the money that we make.
I don't think that's a tiny little thing at all. I think that's a huge thing. And I think kids being able to stand in school while they're doing their work instead of sitting would be awesome. Get one of the little fidget bars to go underneath it. They can move around all they want, get some of that energy out instead of just sitting still. I think it's a wonderful idea.
Getting into trouble.
Yeah.
Not focusing. We had 2 boys, or we have 2 boys, but it's, I think about, being able to sit still for boys.
Right. Sure. It's bad enough the crappy food there you feed them.
Yeah.
If you want to call it food.
Yeah. It just kept going. I mean, the speakers we would have, they have a great time. We put them up for the weekend here at our place, and we get to know each other. It's quiet. They don't usually get to places where there aren't any people.
Right. Yeah.
It's really beautiful. So they get kind of a respite, and we have had, I can't tell you how many we have had come back. So for our one coming up, I think I was reading here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
9,
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12 past speakers that will be coming just to attend our event.
That is so cool.
Support what we're doing. I mean, if you'd have told us that when we started, we wouldn't believe it.
Right.
And so this is a day-long event. And do you always have, 4 speakers throughout that day, or does it vary?
Right. This is in Monterey, Virginia, which is in the mountains of Virginia. We say it is the best kept secret in the state of Virginia. It's up in the mountains, and you got to cross mountains to get here. And it's just a very, very small county. So that's where our events take place, is in Monterey, Virginia.
Yeah. So the mean elevation here is 3,000 feet. So we try to do our big events. So we do smaller events throughout the year, but then our big event, which is coming up July 29th, which you're going to be speaking at.
I will be, and very proud to do so.
Great. So the weather here is at the end of July, most of the country, it's pretty hot.
Yeah.
But typically here, it's going to be, low 80s, no humidity.
Oh, that's awesome.
That sounds wonderful.
And do you have a rain backup?
Well, we do. So the venue is indoors for the talk. So it begins at 8 a.m. and ends at 8 p.m.
It's at our community center called Highland Inn, which is right Highland Center, which is right in Monterey.
Okay.
So it's an old elementary school where Somers went to elementary school. And it was renovated into a community center about 7 or 8 years ago.
Okay.
And it's a really nice venue. We start at 8 a.m. We have the 4 speakers a break in between. We have lunch that's going to be catered locally here. We're hoping to have some kind of a surprise, I can't announce it yet, for the chicken source. And then our good friends and supporters, Dr. Bill Schindler and James Barry, who owns pluck.com.
Yep.
And for those of you that don't know Dr. Bill Schindler, if you look up Modern Stone Age Kitchen, that's Bill and Christina, his wife's business. And it's actually a family business that's extremely popular right now. They're going to be doing the dinner.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
gonna be
super
awesome.
excited.
We just watched his special on, was it Netflix or Prime?
Amazon. Yeah.
It was on Amazon. And that was huge. That was so cool to see how they did that. It's The Great Human Race on Amazon. It's like $10 you have to buy the season, and well worth it. And it's just surviving. And it's so interesting because when he does it, and I can't wait to actually talk with him even more, but it's amazing how these people they're out there and they are surviving, on whatever they can. They are not looking for carbohydrates. They are looking for meat, and they are looking for fat, and they are looking for water, and that's shelter.
That's it. That's it.
I mean, that's got to tell you something. I mean, if we're going to survive, it's not on carbs.
Not on a vegetarian diet.
The biggest thing we learned from that is that you have to climb trees to get away from the lions. Let me tell you, that's serious stuff.
Yeah, it's serious stuff.
Anyway, Bill Schindler is a fantastic chef. and he will be fixing our evening meal.
So he's making
From scratch.
authentic Mexican tacos. So
awesome.
most of the stuff is actually coming from Mexico. So
That's great.
the old-fashioned way
really
of making tacos.
Yeah, I've seen him. I follow him on Facebook, and so I'll see him post some things.
And they do a lot with sourdough bread and everything too. Is he going to do anything like that there? Any kind of?
Yeah, he'll have some fermented sourdough.
He was one of our speakers just before they closed the country down during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of our speakers. He made sourdough bread in the presence of all of the speakers. And he also made homemade butter.
Fermented butter, yeah.
And we had our chef friend from Lynchburg, Jason, what's Jason's last name?
Arbusto.
Jason Arbusto came and cooked chicken and meat in a cajachina. And then we all dipped Bill's bread in the drippings.
In the chicken fat. That is unreal.
And let me tell you, now that's what I'm talking about.
And it's
so good.
It's so crazy. People who don't understand proper healthy nutrition, like what we're trying to explain to people, they hear you say that you're dipping sourdough bread in this
fat drippings.
Oh my God, you're gonna clog your arteries. Like, no, people. You've been misinformed by people who are making trillions of dollars off you.
So on our July 9th, so our big events, we call it Momentum in the Mountains, hence tying our name to the mountains. And our speakers for the day are Steve Hewlett, Nina Teicholz, who is the author of The Big Fat Surprise, as well as, it's hard to get these people's bios condensed. But,
yeah, it really is.
But has been an investigative reporter also, and works hard to try to get our food pyramid and what we feed our kids improved significantly.
Oh, totally revamped is what we're going to have to do.
And then Dominic D'Agostino. And both Dom and Nina were kind of on our wish list from the get-go. And we just happened to meet Nina at Low Carb Denver with you guys. And then Dom,
Todd White
from Dry Farm Wines
introduced us to him.
Connected us to Dom. And Dom didn't even hesitate. I mean, we didn't even tell him about what we were doing much. And he said, yeah, I'll be there. So
nice.
He's been one of the guys that we have followed for years. He's done some really, really important. He's a researcher also. And two of the things that I think that has been a great accomplishment of Dr. D'Agostino is that he was on the team of researchers who did research on the rebreather for our Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
And he also was on the team of people who discovered that the ketogenic diet can pretty much do away with or eliminate childhood seizures. And so those two things, I hope he'll talk about those, because I think that those are two extremely important accomplishments that he's done.
That'd be wonderful. Maybe after this, I'll be able to have him on our podcast also.
Yeah, he's driving up here with his wife from Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's a long drive also.
Yeah, they're on their way to take a vacation to see their parents and stuff.
They're going to come by here first.
Yeah.
We're taking vacation to see you guys.
That sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
So Dry Farm
Wines.
Todd White.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Todd is the founder of that company, but Todd's a lot more than just a wine aficionado. He's a health expert in a lot of ways. One is by trying to understand how alcohol affects your body.
Mm-hmm.
And so Dry Farm Wines, I always tell people that if you're going to drink alcohol, that would be what I would recommend they drink.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There's some people that say, a little bit of tequila, some clear liquors, fine. But Dry Farm Wines has, a long history of finding wines. They're primarily in Europe, South Africa, and places that don't spray Roundup or glyphosate.
Very few people know that Roundup is sprayed in Napa Valley, and it's on every vine that there is.
Glyphosate is so horrible for our bodies, and they're putting it in everything.
Yeah. So natural wines, in essence, what he calls it. So they have to meet certain criteria. They have their own lab. They test every single batch of wine. And it's not just glyphosate. It's also any additives. So a lot of wine companies they want the wine to taste the same from vintage to vintage. In the U.S., people like that. If they
Right.
have this kind of wine, they want it to taste the same every year.
And we know that nature is not like that.
No, not at all.
So what they do is they kill the native yeast, and then they keep the yeast that makes it taste the same. That's in the U.S. But Todd and them do not do that. Everything is natural. So all the yeast, in fact, it's called dry farm because all of the vineyards the vines are not irrigated.
Okay.
So they dive really deep. They're very old, most of them. And if you don't water them, you don't get mold. So a lot of grapes are moldy.
And
so
there's no added sugar.
No added sugar. So
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah. So the alcohol content has to be less than 12.5% for them to take that into their inventory. And it also has to be less than 1 gram of sugar per liter.
So consequently, it doesn't jack your blood glucose up when you drink it.
Right. And just for reference, 1 teaspoon of sugar is 4 grams. So that means there's only a quarter of a teaspoon of sugar in a liter.
Yep.
Wow.
That's awesome.
It's all natural. It's all natural sugar. It's not added sugar.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a different experience. We met them when they started in 2017. We saw them at Paleo FX in Austin, Texas. We met them. They were on a mission. They literally had just started, and it's exploded.
We were one of their first customers, and we've kept in contact with Todd and been bugging him to come speak for us. And finally, he said, "Okay, I'm going to come. I'm going to come."
Awesome.
That's good. And we get to hear it.
Yeah.
And he's going to talk a little bit about meditation, stress reduction, other health mindfulness things that they practice inside their company, which is kind of unique.
Andy's supplying wine for everybody.
He is.
He is one of our biggest supporters and has been since we started. He sends us wine for every one of our events just sends us wine however much we want.
That sounds awesome.
That really is great.
So we're going to ask something. Since you've been doing this, what's it like around the community? Do you feel like people are starting to wake up and understand how all the misinformation been told? Are they trying to eat more healthy now? Did anybody talk to you about it, or how's that going?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because it's such a small community, we've kind of got a little tribe of people that are now to come to every event we have. They've changed their life. They've improved their health drastically. People off medication, losing
tons of weight.
One guy up 80 pounds.
And that's
blood work's getting better. You'll go into the coffee shop and they'll bring you their blood work. Like, look at this, which is great.
I know. I love that when they do that too.
It's great, but it is still a bit of a struggle. We want people to be aware and care about their health. And sometimes you just want to choke them and say, wake up, wake up.
Yeah, the big thing is to be sure that people understand that they're in charge of their health.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so sometimes you get dealt a bad card no matter how healthy lifestyle you have. You end up with a bad disease or something. But that's pretty rare.
Right.
But even if they do have, cancer, for instance, we try to help them either through our speakers or our contacts that we've made from attendees. And because some attendees are in the healthcare world, we just try to provide resources. If we can provide it, we'll try. Right. But we're not practitioners. But if not, we can try to connect them with people that can help them along whatever journey they have, whether it's really bad or whether it's just a day-to-day kind of changing your food thing.
So we kind of feel like we're successful if we can get people just questioning a little bit. Well, is there something other than just insulin that we can do for our diabetics? Is there just the realization that really most healthcare is based on the almighty dollar, and that just because, you go to the doctor and they tell you, oh, take this insulin or take this shot, we just want them to realize that that isn't the only way. There are other ways that usually are less costly, less invasive. Just if we can get people just to thinking about, well, maybe this or maybe that, or just not taking what their doctor tells them as the gospel.
Right.
And
Especially when you're talking about insulin, because not only is that not the way, but that actually can make your diabetes worse. And
Yeah,
the more insulin you
It makes
take,
your
the
life
worse your
worse.
diabetes is. It's the only way you're going to treat it is with nutrition. It's a
Absolutely.
nutritional disease.
And another thing is, so many people, they need to start slowly hearing this. Some people
Right.
can, hear it and immediately totally change. But for
Yes.
the most part, it's kind of a progression. It's like,
You're
okay,
absolutely right, Teresa,
Right.
because when you first start telling people that all this, if you do it the wrong way, they're immediately skeptical
Right.
because
Yeah.
well, it couldn't be that simple, or my doctor wouldn't tell me that. If it wasn't the right thing to do.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so little by little, it starts dawning on people, just like it did us when we started listening to Dave Asprey. Little by little, we would go, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
Mhm.
And it's
Yeah,
so weird.
When
Go
we
ahead.
started that in 2017, it was interesting because, we just didn't have any credibility yet. So people were wondering what we were doing, why we were doing it, why were we giving desks to the kids, what is stand-up desk, what does it matter?
Right.
I mean, it was really basic stuff. And now the good thing is, people are excited about the speakers. Like I said, then there's enough good reality stories from people's health journey that they like to talk about it. So they're our best advertising locally. We advertise on Facebook, as you know, but we don't advertise anywhere else. We don't try to spend any money on advertising at all.
Yeah.
So we can put the money towards desks.
Exactly.
Right. See, just like Teresa was saying, the fact that you guys do it year after year after year just helps ingrain that in everybody's. And when they hear all these different speakers saying the exact same thing, that's where I was. When I first found about the nutrition, about how everything we were taught in school and growing up was totally wrong, totally opposite of the way it is. And once I found that out, I was like you guys, like, oh my gosh, is there more? And you look out there and there's information everywhere. I mean, it is so easy to find the proper way to eat. But most people go to the physicians, and physicians do not know that unless they use that as a focus. All they know is what they're taught in school. And I'm the same way. I mean, I'm a doctor of pharmacy for the last 30 years. We were never taught this kind of information. And that's why I'm like you guys. I just want to do everything I possibly can to get the message out to everybody, because it's not us just saying that, it's everywhere. It just depends on where you look to find it. So I love the fact that you guys have been doing this year after year, and I commend you for doing that. I wish other people would start doing the same thing. Just start small, start local, and just, if you got all these patches all over the United States, or everybody's starting, or anywhere all around the world, start low, start local, and pretty soon we're all going to merge together to where now people know. And drug companies and food companies, they will go broke if you guys are healthy. Because healthy people don't eat processed food, and healthy people do not take medications.
That's exactly right.
I love what you guys are doing.
That's an excellent way to say it.
We would like to invite all your listeners to come to Highland County, Monterey, Virginia in July the 29th, Saturday, to hear our speakers. It's going to be a fantastic day, and we've ordered sunshine. So, we intend to have a beautiful day. And our local award-winning clogging team will be dancing for everyone. And our friend is going to be our DJ, which we hope everybody it's going to be dancing music. So we can all dance.
Good deal. Let's get moving.
To show off.
And wine and the best food you'll ever have from an accomplished chef, accomplished chefs.
Yeah.
So, and also in addition to Steve speaking and Nina Teicholz and Dom DiAgostino and Todd White, we've been fortunate to have our past speakers come back every year just because they want to support us. So this year we will have Kirk Parsley, Dr. Kirk Parsley. He's the sleep doc for the Navy SEALs. His product is Sleep Remedy. Brandy Braziel, she did a great talk for us here on female hormones primarily.
Oh, good.
Mark Cucuzella, Dr. Mark Cucuzella from West Virginia.
He's our man.
He's been a huge supporter. He's spoken for us multiple times.
He's a doc who cures people's diabetes through, who knew, food.
Is that possible?
That's right. And then Bill and Christina Schindler will be here. Amy Berger will be here in the audience. Dr. Stephen Hussey, who's a chiropractor, who's actually had a heart attack at a young age. And he has a great book called Understanding Your Heart.
Okay.
Ryan Muncie, who's also a young man. He was one of our early speakers and everybody loves him. he's going to be there, probably doing a little podcast from there.
And we hope Dr. Philip Ovadia will be here.
Yeah.
We're hoping. He came here last year. We're still trying to get him, he's a heart surgeon. So it's hard for him to just jump and do things.
Yeah.
And then Vinny Tortorich, crazy Vinny. And then last night, Tyler Cartwright agreed. He said, I'm coming. Tyler is, if you've ever seen Element electrolyte mix.
Oh, yeah, we use it.
Yeah, so he was one of the founding members of that with Rob Wolf and Luis and all those guys. So he called last night and said, I'm coming.
That's awesome.
That is what, and that's how we were. When you guys were explaining this to us, way before you even asked if I wanted to be one of the speakers, Teresa and I, we already knew we were planning on coming. We already told you that. No, we will be coming because it just sounded like an event that you just don't want to miss. We didn't want to miss it. And just the people that you've said that we do know just from these, low carb Denvers and from the ketogenic conference and everything. I cannot wait to meet these people. They're extraordinary, and everybody has the same view, the same passion of trying to get people healthy. Try to get people healthy because
that's right.
Man, since 1977, we have gone so far down in our health status in so many different ways. And it's weird how that's right exactly when the new dietary guidelines came out. Surely it's not a coincidence.
We figured that the only way that we're going to get out of this health crisis that we're in is through education. And we don't teach our kids anymore about nutrition or cooking or their bodies. All that, which in my mind, there's just nothing more important to teach our kids than that. But they've dished it out to the school. Parents have dished it out to the school, and the school no longer teaches it.
No, they don't even understand it, I'm sure.
No.
So anyway, everybody's invited to come. I mean, like I said, we're over halfway on tickets.
If anybody's interested, you can go on Eventbrite and look up Positive Momentum and buy tickets there.
Yeah.
Okay. Will there be a link that we can put in the notes below?
Yes, I'll send you a link.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So it's on Eventbrite under Momentum in the Mountains 2023. It'll be the only one in Monterey, Virginia. So,
and you'll probably have to give us a call. Well, if you buy a ticket, we'll know who you are, and we'll probably have to find you a room because there's no rooms available left.
Okay.
That's awesome. That's good. There's no rooms available.
Well, we'll find places. We have connections here and there.
Under the stars.
Yeah.
Bring your tent.
Yeah. And anybody's welcome to come and camp if they want to also.
Yeah.
We've got lots of room for you to camp.
Okay.
Now, when they try to find this under Eventbrite, can they do it under either way, either under Positive Momentum or Momentum in the Mountains? Will both of them get you there?
Yes, but I would go Momentum in the Mountains because that's where I have it tagged.
Okay. That sounds good.
You can also find us if you go to Positive Momentum LLC on Facebook.
Right.
There's links there on it and more information about the event and all that kind of stuff. So that's our Facebook page.
Right.
Okay. I was just curious. You say you do this. Have you always given the money to stand-up desks?
Yes.
Now, so when are you done? I mean, are you doing like grade by grade or how?
Yeah, we do.
I'm just curious.
So the certain teachers, they get to decide if they want them.
Okay.
So
And there have been teachers who didn't want them,
right.
if you can imagine that.
So we deal with the superintendent and the principals of the high school and the elementary school to decide which teachers want them, how many they want, because some of them are uneasy about how it might work in their classroom. So sometimes they'll do half of their classroom this year and half of their classroom next year, just to make sure their students are, because it does matter at the maturity level physically.
Mm-hmm.
There's more impact, better impact when they're younger, older habits, the older kids. They have habits they really don't want to sit, stand.
Right.
We also buy chairs for them, not a typical chair, but a chair that they can halfway sit if they want to.
Right.
It's not a chair that you sit down in, but it's just kind of a leaning chair.
It's a telescoping ergonomic chair that you have to lean against. You really can't sit on it. And that allows them to take load off. So for high school, sometimes they're in the same class for a while. So it's, standing for 3 hours or something is not something you want to do.
Right.
And a lot of kids everywhere, not just our kids, they're beginning to be metabolically broken. And a lot of them are overweight and a lot of them are sick and really have a hard time standing. So we provide a chair that they don't have to stand all the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is so cool. I just love that you guys are doing this. I really, really do. I hope more people start doing and it doesn't have to be charity. I mean, stand-up desk could be anything. Just do something in your community that's going to help other people become educated.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever do any kind of educational things for the school? Do you ever go to the school, or do you have any people go to the school and actually explain nutrition to kids, the proper nutrition?
We have not yet. We have tried. We had Dr. Cucuzella go over there and talk to the food service personnel. At that point in time, it was not something the school wanted to do. It was under different management. But I think we have some opportunity coming up in the near future.
We would like for the schools to support us more.
Right.
It'd be nice if they would come to the event. Do
Yes.
they? Like, would the superintendent of your school come, or is he?
Good question.
We hope he will. He's
been invited, so
he's new, and we're really hoping that he'll come.
Oh, I hope so too.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
yeah, I mean, we would love to be able to, fill the school up with them for the people that want them.
Mhm.
That's for sure. And it probably won't take us that much longer. The event like this really helps a lot. We can buy a lot of desks from the net proceeds.
Right. That is wonderful. Well, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you guys feel like people need to know, or?
I don't think so. I was going to, if you give me a second, if Somers talks for a minute.
Well, I want you two to know how grateful we are for people like you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, the podcast, like we learned from podcasts, I mean, that was where we started and where we've learned an enormous amount from people like you. So, you and every other podcaster are doing very important work. So thank you for doing what you do.
Absolutely.
You're welcome. I'll keep on as long as people want to listen to it.
Yeah, I don't want to forget because I can't find my list. I think it's on my computer and I can't get to it. But we also are supported a lot by sponsors.
Mhm.
So they're typically mainly local people.
Oh, yes, we are.
So Dry Farm Wines obviously is one of our big sponsors. We have this year a new one called Next Level Ranch, and it's nextlevelranch.com. It is a local rancher, raises primarily beef cattle, but also pork.
And he's
lamb.
crazy about the quality of his meat and works really hard to breed his animals for great taste, but he's very careful about what he feeds them.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Good,
it's the Montgomery family that do that. So
Yeah, John Michael Montgomery.
nextlevelranch.com. Hopefully, well, I can't say we have that because we haven't confirmed that yet, but you got to watch the timing of things.
That's right.
Of course, Bill Schindler, Modern Stone Age Kitchen, and James Berry, Eat Pluck, they're donating their time.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of in-kind stuff that saves us a lot of money and gives us a lot of expertise that we don't have.
Mhm.
Who am I missing, Somers? Oh, Resilient Roots, which is our functional medicine doc and his team that we use ourselves personally there in Charlottesville, Virginia. Who else am I missing? There's a lot more.
Well, Warm Springs Inn in Warm Springs, Virginia,
Yeah.
they have a beautiful, cozy, comfortable country inn that we love. They have supported us big time in the past by fixing food for us. The Mary and Jack Schooler, who are members of our community, who also have a farm. They have been incredible supporters of ours. Shamrock and Stevenson Realty in Monterey, they have been a supporter of ours ever since we started. They give us money every event that we have, and we just could not do it without our supporters. Claire Sachs, who is a young woman who has a cafe in town, she is fixing our meals for lunch. Monterey Inn, which is a brand new boutique hotel. They just opened. That's where you guys are staying.
Mhm.
Beautiful new inn. We have a place in town, another boutique hotel called Curly Maple. Their rooms are called Sweet Spots because we produce maple syrup in Highland County. That's our main product that we, ship out of here. And they have been great supporters as well. The bank, Summit Bank, has been a great supporter. I mean, we've had a lot of community support.
Yeah, and a new one this year. They used to be old because they were farmers, but now they're in the real estate business. Is National Land Realty, Chuck Neely and Luann Neely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we have,
Back Creek Farms.
Yeah.
They have sugar camps, and their operation is huge, and they have product all over the country.
So with all those people, it helps a lot cover our cost.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So then whatever we get from tickets, can go towards the desks.
Right. That's
Man,
nice.
That is so exciting.
Summers.
So you didn't need your computer after all.
That's right.
You got your other one.
That's right. Wise. What would we do without him?
I know. That's for sure.
Do you have any questions? More questions?
I don't think so.
Guys, this has been wonderful.
Yes.
I really thoroughly appreciate this. I so respect what you guys have done. And I really hope that people listening, can start thinking about in their little niche, what can they do around them and wherever they live to just start the ball rolling, just start doing something to start making people more aware of their health. And I think it's wonderful what you guys are doing. I was so excited when you first told us about it.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Well, we're excited you're coming. We're
Yeah.
really looking
I
forward to
can't
it.
wait to get
It's going to
there.
be cool. I can't wait to
Yeah.
meet everybody. It's going to be neat.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
We really
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Well, you are so welcome. And thank you for saying yes when I asked to be on the podcast. It's great. And
We will
I guess
see
we'll be,
you soon.
yep,
Okay,
see you at
we'll
the end
see
of
ya.
July.
All righty.
All right.
See you
Talk
guys.
to you guys
Thanks.
later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the subscribe button below and be sure to tell someone else who may want to change their health path as well. And don't forget, you can also purchase my book, Your Plate is Your Fate, on Amazon or Audible. And if you do, please leave a review.